into net.
All right. The time is now 5:30 p.m. I am calling to order the South End Landmarks District Commission, April 1, 2025 Public Hearing Commissioners. Commissioners present are Cheryl Jocks, Kevin, sorry. There we go. Kevin Reedy, Felicia Jocks, list here. Peter Sanborn and John Freeman. Today, the Commission will be holding a public hearing to review applications. In accordance with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, extending the suspension of these provisions until June 30th, 2027, we are conducting this meeting online. To ensure public access to the deliberations of the South End Landmark District Commission, the public may access this call through telephone and video conferencing. This hearing is being recorded. All further conversations between commissioners should be audible to the public in attendance until the hearing has adjourned. Are there any media or elected officials currently present? If so, please raise your hand using the Zoom meeting platform and state your name, title, and affiliation. Members of the public will have an opportunity to ask questions and provide public comment on applications and discussions. To do so, please raise your hand in the application via the Zoom meeting platform. We will repeat these instructions throughout the hearing. Tonight's agenda, we will be going through violations, a design review, some administrative reviews. We'll go through the ratification of the 3/4/25 meeting minutes, any staff updates, and then we will adjourn. So it looks like the first bit of business is going to be the violations. And we have 193 West Springfield Street. The proposed work was to replace windows at the front, add condenser to the roof, remove and restore original front door. Not yet completed, to replace the front railings with the same railing as neighborhoods on the left and the right. And is there anybody?
Yes, Christopher.
Okay.
Yes, my name's Andrew Litchfield. I'm the owner's rep for 193 West Springfield Street.
Okay. Rachel, do you go on an overview of this, or do you just explain what's going on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so pretty much what we'll do is Andrew, can walk us through your presentation,
Sure.
and then you all will ask any comments or questions about it, and we'll go from there. So Andrew, you can just let me know next, and I'll move the slide.
Great. Thank you, Rachel. Hello, everyone. My name is Andrew Litchfield. I'm the owner's rep for 193 West Springfield Street, and this property is a existing single family, staying as an existing single family, and being renovated right now. I made the mistake of replacing windows without going to the Landmarks Commission. And that's why we're here today. There's also a condenser on the roof for new mini splits we put into the property. So I'll just take you really quickly through kind of where we are in the process, but obviously there's a few things that are already completed that we just would love your blessing on to continue. So you can just continue through. This is the existing elevation of the property, was the existing elevation of the property. There were replacement windows, I don't know, maybe 20, 25 years ago, bars in the first floor, and the existing front door. Next slide. This is the rear of the property. There was a doghouse shed in the back of the property. You can see the same style windows that were replaced 20 some odd years ago. Next slide. Here's our proposed. So we have our roof deck up top. We also have the replacement windows. These are Marvin windows, black exterior, aluminum clad with white interior wood finish. And these have been installed already. The door is going to be restored. The original door is being restored right now. You'll see out front of the property is a construction door with plywood that was put in place. while that door is being restored. Next slide. Here's the rear of the property. We have a slider with a deck off the back of the property. And again, you can see at the top the roof deck as well. Windows have been replaced and the fire escapes remain because they're connected to the other property next door.
And just to let the commission know, the rear is exempt from review.
Correct. All right, next slide. Here's your side. Again, roof deck towards the back of the property, and the deck off in the back as well. Next slide. So you can see on the left, that was what we purchased the property in. It's a full gut renovation of the interior of the property. And then the right is the current state of it. Windows have been replaced. The front door, that's our temporary door right now, while the current door is being restored. Next slide. Just showing you some of the interior. So the basement is finished off.
Sorry, Andrew, you don't have to worry about the interior.
All right,
We want to
perfect.
purview there.
All right, so that's pretty much it.
Can you go back to the previous slide?
Oh, I'm sorry. One last thing, right before. We do have replacement railings. I don't know when they were replaced. On the left-hand side, these are our existing railings. And I figured, you know, as we're going through the commission, we want to replace our railings with what our neighbors look like, which is on the right-hand side, the proposed. So we would be asking for permission on replacing the left side railings with the right, which is currently what on either side of our property our neighbors have.
So you're saying you have the modern railing and the
Yes.
thing, it's only on one side?
Well, it's on both sides. That's the only picture that I could get right now, but it's on both sides and it's across the front, but it's the same exact design. You know, I'm sure that was done 20 some odd years ago.
Mhm.
And the right-hand side is our neighbors on our left and our right. So we're, you know, basically want to be uniform with them.
Great.
That's it.
I was gonna have you go back to the slide with that one right there.
Yes.
Is it are there no lintels on the upper 2 stories or the middle?
Yeah, unfortunately there was no lentils there. I'm not sure when that was that was done. But the only changes that we made so far to the exterior are the windows.
Okay.
Chris, you can go ahead and ask if commissioners have any questions.
Yeah, I was gonna say, does
Oh.
anybody have any questions? Felicia? Are you there?
No.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Kevin?
Maybe, but I'm interested in other questions before.
I mean, you feel free to go ahead and ask yours if you'd like.
I don't right now. I visited yesterday. I understand the railings. I guess I'm interested in the conversation around windows.
Okay. Peter?
Yeah, I have 2 questions. The first is the railing for the entry steps. Are you planning to change those?
Yes, we would like to change those to be consistent with our neighbors on the left and right.
Okay, the photos of the neighbors look to be the front yard railing.
Yeah, they're very similar. You can't really see it on the middle picture, but they basically are the same as you go up as well with that detailed work.
Okay, and so you're planning to replicate that
Yes,
with a similar newel post?
with a similar newel post and the actual spindles.
Okay, and my other question is, has the roof deck been installed yet?
The roof deck has not been installed yet.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And go ahead, John.
No, I have questions. Sorry, you can finish what you were going to say.
May I ask my questions?
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay, sorry. What happened to the windows that you took out? Do you have one?
We do not. They were your vinyl replacement windows that were there.
Okay, but do you have a close-up picture of him, of one of them?
This was the best picture that I could get.
Okay. For the railing in the front, most often that railing would be installed with a granite curb,
Okay.
a flush granite curb, and looking at the rest of the street on Google, it looks like most of them do. Is that what you're planning to do? See, this seems to be an anomaly, your proposed picture. When I
Yeah,
look
so that's actually we got that because of our neighbors. That's a literal picture of our neighbor
would
to
you be,
right.
I think, would you be willing to do a granite curb? I think.
Yeah, we would be.
I think everywhere else on the street does have them,
Okay.
as far as I can see.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess that's. Oh, what kind of Marvin, if I can ask, what
I did
what's
provide
the
a
model?
cut sheet on them. Let me see if I
Are they
still,
the ultimate double hungs?
I believe so. Let me just pull it up.
It wasn't in your proposal. I mean, in your.
It wasn't in the actual presentation, but I did add it as an attachment.
Okay, I'm not sure we have access to that.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry, Andrew. I
No
didn't
worries.
put that in the presentation.
I took it right from my supplier. Let me get you the exact, because it does say double hung. It doesn't say the type of Marvin on this, but I can get that for you.
Okay, I think what we'd like to see is your shop drawings. Marvin will typically give you,
Yep.
you know, and see what it is, see what the type of window it is.
Sure.
I think probably it is the ultimate double hung, but I think we need some paperwork to confirm that.
Of course, John.
I think those are my only questions on this. Oh, the roof. So the Rachel, is the condenser on the roof visible, and is that part of this?
Yeah, so I went out and the condensers are located on the front portion of the roof and are visible from the street. Their proposed roof deck, though, interestingly, was found to be exempt sometime last year. It was not visible from a public way. So it's just the condensers that are at issue.
Okay, is that what we're seeing in this picture here?
No, I don't think you can see the condenser from this picture, but I did see that with the violation, it showed that.
Yeah.
I
I
think,
can try to pull up a photo, John, if
yeah,
that's
sure.
helpful. Would you like me to pull the photo? John Freeman,
I'm sorry, say again?
would you like me to pull up a photo?
Yes, I'd be,
Thanks.
if that's part of the violation, then absolutely.
Yeah, and I think what happened was we kind of shared with our mechanical contractor where our roof deck was going, and he just kind of put it wherever he wanted to. So
You can ask him to move it.
That's something that we can definitely move as well.
I'm looking at my other screen here. I'm not ignoring you.
No worries.
Sorry, just a second, I have to pull it up. And then I'm sharing my screen again. Okay. Can you see the little white box by the chimney?
Yep.
So that's just from right in front. And then as you can see a little zoomed further back from across the street, it's still quite visible.
Okay. And down the street, I assume, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and there's also this other kind of like pipe that's peeking out by the left hand.
Is that part of the violation, part of the condenser, or is that
Yeah.
something else?
Yeah, it's this piece, the pipe on the left, and then the box on the right.
Andrew, that looks like it could just be a vent that hasn't been cut down yet.
I believe that's what it is. Yes.
So they'll probably cut
We'll
that
cut
down.
that, but we definitely need to move the condenser.
Yeah, well, and you would need to, I think what they would typically do with that, is cut it down and put a U or goose
Yes.
deck on it. But we'll definitely need to have that be part of this.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
What was
Thank
that, John, that needs to be part of that, a cap?
So something, there's a white, it looks like a PVC white pipe in that
Right.
last picture.
Yep.
I'm guessing that it's just a vent that they haven't cut and put the top on.
Mhm.
You know, typically they'll cut it down to some, like whatever the code height is, and, you know, put a U on it. So,
Like a candy cane.
but I want to make sure that's part of this.
And painted black and it really disappears.
That'd be fine with me.
Do that too.
Are we,
Are
so,
there any other further questions or comments from the commissioners?
Chris, I do have one additional question. It's about the entryway. Has the side lights and the transom, have they been removed for
No,
restoration?
just the glass has, and the glass will be replaced. But those lights and basically that whole, if you look on the left-hand side, that whole setup is still there. The door is off that we're refinishing now and sanding down all that wood. Then we'll add in our new glass.
You're saying the blue door in the current picture has very similar design as the one on your building?
No, it's actually different. So if you look at ours, the left before picture,
Mhm.
that's the original door. And so we're all those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 side lights or side light and transom light are remaining. We just replaced the glass and we're refinishing the door, the current door right now. But it is different than the one next door.
It's similar a little bit, but yeah, I know which side lights and a door. Yeah, they
Yes.
different doors.
Mhm.
Anything else? The one thing that I just wanted to comment, I'm just like the lentil-less windows are perplexing me a little bit. Did you do any brickwork on the front of the building?
We have not done any brickwork on the front. Yeah, unfortunately, that's how we bought the property with no lentils there.
It must be a steel plate or something up there, right, John, that
Yeah.
holds it up?
what they call a loose lintel is most likely. So they probably were replaced in some, you know, repointing done at the time.
Mhm.
Looking at the Google, the pictures are hard to see, but it looks like they've been gone for a while.
That would have been nice if they did brickwork to replace them, but that wasn't part of the thing, so we'll move on. So do I hear a motion from anybody to, or?
Well, I would like to discuss a little bit.
Okay,
I think we have to treat, so I'll do my first impression. If the windows are Marvin Ultimate double hung, those are generally very approvable. But I think we need to see some more information, just like we would with a real application. See the cut sheet and or the shop drawings for the windows, so that we can approve them as we would a normal one. But I don't imagine that as a problem. I think the condenser does have to be moved. And I don't know if we need a site committee or we can remand that location to staff. I think probably remanding it to staff would be fine. The door worries me a little bit. I think we need to see some shop drawings on that. Because I don't think it isn't exactly matching something. And I think it's appropriate that we see, and I would be happy to remand that to staff as well. But I think we need the paperwork, you know, this is a government city agency. But I think we need to confirm before it's installed that the door does meet the standards and criteria, because we don't have anything in this application here that defines it. I can turn that into a motion, but I thought I'd put it out for discussion first for the rest of the commission.
I agree with that comment, John, because it doesn't appear that the entryway is likely to be original. It looks like it is probably a later replacement, particularly given the depth of the header over the transom. So, and the door isn't really clear as to in the photo what it is. My other concern is the potential visibility of the deck from looking at it from the, if you're looking onto the building from the left, because at least that one building is lower. And while the deck would probably not be visible from the front or from the right, might it be from the left?
Peter?
Did you say this was found exempt last
Yeah,
year?
yeah. So hi, so Peter, this is Rachel. So interestingly, there was an application just for the roof deck last year, and they did a mock-up and it was found to be exempt.
Okay,
Happy to forward that along if you
nope.
see it. Thanks.
I guess, are we ready then to take a motion, John?
Sure. Is everybody comfortable remanding these things to staff?
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
All right, so I'll make a motion to accept the windows if they do prove to be the ultimate double hung and meet the standards for the dimensions of the muttons and meeting rail and so on. That we would approve the garden railings as long as there is a granite curb added to them. And I see curbs of different dimensions down the street, so going from flush to 1 or 2 inches, but I think your neighbor's is the only one that doesn't have it, and a curb would be normal.
Sure.
I think the condenser has to be moved to a location approved again by staff, and the whatever that white pipe is, probably a PVC vent, cut down to a height so it's not visible, and painted black, or if it's at all visible, painted black. Open to the review of staff. I think that's it. Was there anything else anybody remembers?
The door?
Oh, of course. And that I think, Rachel, would we continue the door, or how would we handle it? That we need to, I guess, need to have full shop drawings of the door and enclosure
Yeah,
submitted to staff for review, and
Yep.
staff bring them back to the commission if you see fit.
perfect. Thanks. John.
And since this has already been done, let's put a tight time frame on it and say it has to be, those things should be completed or at least reviewed with staff within 14 days, 30 days. What would be good for staff?
I mean, I think 30 days is reasonable. It sounds like they have the windows, and if they're already working on the door, they probably should have the door. So I don't think 30 days should pose a problem. Andrew, does 30 days sound reasonable to you?
30 days sounds reasonable to me.
Okay, so I'll make that part of the motion 30 days.
Okay.
I'll
We have-
second.
Thank you for that, Peter. So I guess we'll call on the commissioners. Felicia,
Aye.
Kevin?
Hi.
Oh, sorry, everyone. We got to do public comment before you vote.
Oh,
On a violation?
Oh, you're right. We don't do public comment on violation. There we go.
okay, we got Felicia, we've got Kevin,
Hi.
John,
Aye.
and the chair votes with the motion, and so the motion is approved.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Andrew.
So now we're going to move on to this is a design review, and the address is 100 Appleton Street. The proposed work is to replace the rear fence and gate, which faces Dartmouth Place, with a new composite system. Is there somebody here from that address for that project?
That'll be me, Victoria Pacella.
Hi, Victoria.
Well,
Hi.
Hi,
Thank you.
Victoria. Rachel is running the slides. You can just say next, and I'll move them for you.
Sounds great. So I am Victoria Pacella. I am looking to review, to get an approval on a composite fence that faces Dartmouth Place, which is a dead-end street. This would be the rear of 198 Appleton Street. Next, we can show So this is the existing fence. It has two sections. The section on the left is currently 16 feet by 6 feet tall. The one on the right is about 5 feet tall, 16 feet as well. The middle gate is 4 feet wide. So we're looking to bring all heights to 6 feet. And then, you know, the width will remain the same. New gate as well. Next, please. So this is the type of composite fencing we're trying to get approved. It would be on that brown color, same exact design. Next, please. So that shows you it would be the woodland brown color on the seclusions style. Next, I believe there's more. If there were, this is the wood option, but we are really trying to go with the composite because it is less maintenance. It still looks just like the wood fence. Next, please. That's it.
Is that was that cedar? Was that your wood choice?
Yeah, yeah, correct.
Okay. So I'll open it up to the commissioners. Are there any questions? Felicia?
No, I think they're both handsome solutions.
A question for you, Rachel. That this fence is right on the sidewalk on Dartmouth Place. Dartmouth Place is, you know, the dead end street there. That's considered a street. So I'm just checking, you know, our purview on.
Yep,
You know,
yeah. So it's a really interesting situation where we do review both sides of that street, and we review this even though it's in the rear because this is a public way. And so basically we're looking at the wood, we're looking for the wood to be vertical and not horizontal. And wood is of course preferred, but a synthetic version can be approved, which is why we're here.
okay, yeah. Okay, Kevin?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay. John?
Just, so is the, I think this is called a shadow box. Can you go to the other side of the fence in the pictures? Yeah, so is that what, one more the other way? Yeah, is that what that specific configuration is what you're proposing?
Yes, correct. The exact same one. It is the shadow box style.
Is it more important to you that it be shadow box or that it be a the Trex or the composite material?
I think to the client, it was more important for it to be the Trex rather than the style, but this is the style they agreed on.
Is the gate going to be the same style? Just
Same exact as the fence. It's gonna be an all continuous 6 foot tall. Everything's gonna be the same.
and that the gate will continue to be 4 foot and it'll access right in the middle like it is.
Right in the middle, but 6 foot.
Okay.
You want comments?
Any comments yet?
So personally, I think the composite is a great choice. And if it's allowed by our regulations, then I think we should support that. Because this is a place that has a lot of shade, if you look at the fences, there's a lot of moisture and wicking going on in all of the existing ones. So I would definitely support that. The commission has approved shadow box fences, but as far as I remember, only on the rear, on the decks on top of additions, the old laundry decks. And as far as I know, the street has always been a solid fence, and that's because the laundry decks, having laundry, were intended to be able to have air move through them Whereas in this case, the fences are meant for privacy. So my comment would be that the fence should be a flush fence to mimic the other ones. And as far as I know, they didn't typically have those caps on them. So I'd prefer to see the fence post be flush with the top. Unless there's somebody else has more knowledge of this. I'm not the fence expert. But that would be my comments.
I guess I have another question too. With that shadow box, are those Trex boards touching each other? So that would leave about a 5/4, well, an inch of a shadow box, or are they separated further?
And no, they're touching each other.
Okay, so it's about 2 inches thick because that's 5/4 material, and okay.
Correct. With this is the only option they offer on vertical. They don't offer them as non-shadow box. And regards to the post caps, I can ask, but the posts come in separate and the fences come by section and they already have the top rail on. So I can definitely ask if we have that option as to have no caps, and it be a continuous top rail, but I have not seen it that way.
But another question for you, is this a Trex sleeve that goes over a 4x4 post?
It's a 5-inch post, and it is no, the post is the composite, so it's not a sleeve.
It's solid. Okay, it's not a sleeve.
Is the post solid or is it hollow?
I believe it is hollow, but I can no, it is
solid.
It is solid.
Because in the past they've made them with a sleeve that goes over a 4x4.
Right.
post.
Yeah, no, it is solid.
So, because John, there might be a way to minimize that cap, if it is a solid post, to drop it a little bit lower without the fancy stuff on top.
And you can cut Trex, you can,
Yeah.
taper it if you want to. I think it's the shadow box that is the thing that worries, in a way the worrisome part, because it would stand out as different on the street.
Well, there is the neighbors, there are several neighbors to the right and to the left that do have the shadow box. I know I took some pictures, and they look like recent additions as well. So
Okay, well, I guess it's up to the rest of the commission. My understanding is that the shadow box was only on the laundry porches, but Peter, you're more of a historian than I am.
I don't have an answer for that, John. So
Well, I guess if we don't have an answer, we can decide.
Did you say you had pictures of the other shadow boxes on that street?
I'm trying to look, but if you look to the right, on the Rachel, on the page where it shows the existing fence, you can see the right one is, well, the right section on ours is a little bit of, it's a shadow box, and the one on the neighbor side is also a shadow box.
Why don't I pull up Google Maps super
I
quick?
was going to do the same.
I mean, I'm sure there's lots of different fences there. There's,
Right.
I just, we try to move things in the direction of the appropriate historical model. And I don't know the right answer I'd have to ask John Amadeo.
I'm just kind of going down Dartmouth Place.
Is that the one you were talking about, historical, John, with the?
I just, I mean, I see all sorts of different fences here. I'm just saying that my
Vertical boards with there was some space in between them. A
I
little.
mean, there definitely weren't picket or what do they call that, stockade fences with the
Oh, come on.
So
But this one right here, right above the purple car, whatever, it looks like, is that what you're talking about right
that
there?
would be more typical, I think, of a fence in the back. But
Mhm.
I wouldn't go to the mat for this because I'm not that sure of my backyard fence history.
Okay, if there's any, is there any more good data to add? If not, or any comments? I think, can we get a motion on moving forward with this?
How about all right, so hearing no other motions, I'll go out on a limb. I'll make a motion to approve this with several provisos. One is that they investigate the fence history a bit more and work with staff on that. And we'll give staff staff can make the final decision on whether to approve this or require a flush fence. I think we are okay on the height, and we would prefer to see something without the cap on the post part of it, but otherwise approve it.
I'll second that motion.
The staff, sorry, go ahead.
Great. Kevin?
Aye.
Oh, a reminder, we do public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep.
That's okay.
Hard horse.
Any-
Members of the public will now have an opportunity to ask questions and provide public comment on the application and discussions. To do so, please raise your hand via the Zoom meeting platform. If you are calling in and cannot use the platform, you can press *9 to raise your hand, or you can send your questions to staff via email at southendldc@boston.gov.
I don't
Any-
see any hands raised, and I don't think we received any written public comment, Rachel. No.
Okay.
Can I ask a quick question? I know we're maybe past that time, Chris.
Sure, go ahead.
But for the applicant, would you prefer a clean approval of the second option, the wood, or would you prefer to pursue the composite and work with staff?
Per the client, they would like to pursue the composite if
Okay.
possible.
Great, thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
question, thank you.
Did you mention that in the motion, John, that did we make a decision that it was okay for the composite? Was that-
I did, that was my
Okay.
motion, to approve the composite. I think it's a good material, especially in that location where you can see a lot of wicking and water damage on the other fence.
Okay, so does that,
Somebody else can disagree with that.
I agree. Does that square with your question, Kevin?
Yep.
Okay. So we have a motion. Do we have a second on that?
I'll second.
Thank you. John?
Yes, aye.
And the chair votes with the motion, so the motion passes.
Wait, did everyone vote?
I don't,
I don't
Haven't-
think so.
Oh,
Chris, you
I'm
just
sorry,
have to
Peter.
Run through the whole list of commissioners present. Even if they made the motion, they still have to vote.
Sure. Kevin?
Aye.
Peter?
aye,
Sorry about that. John?
Aye.
Felicia?
aye.
And I being number 5, the chair votes with the motion, and so the motion passes. Thank you for that.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. No worries. You're working out all the kinks. All right, whenever you're ready.
So our next project is at 9 CUMSTON Street, and the proposed work is to replace an existing fence with the new. So here we are, fence. Is there the applicant?
Hello,
here?
Commissioners. Jeff Embry with Zinn Associates on behalf of the owners.
Hello. And you have a presentation, Rachel?
Yep, Jeff, you can just let me know. I have your presentation here. And
Sure.
you have any other slides?
So here is this is actually CUMSTON Place, kind of the alley off the street. The clients would like to, their section of fence is on the left, kind of the warmer gray color. They want to replace that fence, if you go to the next slide, with a new wood fence with horizontal boards.
And note that CUMSTON Place is actually a public way, so that's why we are reviewing.
Okay. And it's pretty straightforward. That's kind of all that I have. Here's a quick elevation showing the fence there on the left.
Straightforward.
Yeah.
So I'm going to open this up then to questions, and I'm going to, I guess, start with you, John, because you have some good fence, at least experience. And
I really don't know. So my first question is, why do they want to change to horizontal? They're practical.
That's just kind of the preferred aesthetic of the client.
it's a one-sided fence. I mean, there's, is there a front and a back to it? Like, sometimes fences have two sides.
Yeah, the back will be finished in a similar manner. Rachel, I don't know if you have the photos. There are a few examples in the neighborhood that show a few other horizontal, here we go, boarded fence.
Yeah, it looks like these though are probably done on rears that are not within the purview of the commission. Just
Okay.
look, yeah.
If I'd known this was fence night, I would have done some preparation.
It always happens that way. There's always a random topic and we have like 2 of them.
Yeah, I really don't know the answer to this.
So, I mean, if we look at the standards and criteria, this is just Rachel, it does say that the design and it talks more about siding, but it does say that vertical siding will not be allowed when it's describing wood. So the commission could consider using that. However, it's up to you guys to make the call as to whether the horizontal wood is appropriate for in this instance.
So is the fence being replaced because it's damaged, no longer serving as a fence, or is this the replacement is just run by the wanting the aesthetics to be different?
Just the aesthetics to be different.
And would they keep the granite curb?
Yes, the curb would stay.
Because it looks like you have the okay. Guys, I don't know the answer to this. I mean, I think what we could do is ask the client to do a little more research, or to ask our staff to do a little more research. I don't know if we've ever approved a horizontal fence, or we could say it's a minimal location, but it's always nicer in my mind to have something to back up our decisions.
This is Peter. Could somebody give me the orientation as to the building on the right? Is that facing Shawmut?
Yes.
I don't
Is
know.
that the back of a building that faces Shawmut?
The one on the right, I believe so. The other one.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the name of that street is there.
I can pull up Google Maps, Peter.
It's Shawmut, yeah. It
Yeah,
runs,
Shawmut.
CUMSTON Place runs between Shawmut and CUMSTON Street.
Yeah.
I'm just checking the map.
Yeah, Shawmut.
So presumably this would be visible down the CUMSTON Place from Shawmut. It's at the further end. It's not right up against Shawmut.
Right, you might see it.
So I think we can ask for more information, or we can, having no reason to deny it, we can approve it.
So to your point, John, Rachel, do you have any, I also looked at the standards and criteria. Is there anything other than the siding?
Other than, yeah, this section on wood, no, especially because they talk about fences, but they talk about fences for front yards. And I did do some research and tried to see if I could find out like when the neighbors was approved or if it had come up recently. And I looked back through about 2010 and I didn't see anything. So it's kind of unclear whether or not the gray design. Oh, hi, Joe. Go for it. Oh,
That might be original when that CUMSTON Place was developed.
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It's not really a historic model with the framed fence, but
This is Joe Cornish, the Director of Design Review with the Landmark Commission. I review a lot of fences in the Back Bay, and I know that a horizontal fence like that, I've never seen a historic precedent for that. So it's a very contemporary design. I don't feel that it would be appropriate for the south end for the area significance. I think, keeping with a vertical style fence would be appropriate.
okay. So I'll make a motion to deny it without prejudice.
Can I say one more thing?
Oh, yeah, sure.
We'd be happy to change it to vertical if you guys want to approve it tonight.
So I think we can approve it as vertical from what Joe said.
Okay.
And I don't think a natural finish is a problem, Joe. So I'll make a motion to approve a new fence there with the proviso that it is vertical board.
Second.
I just had one question. Is there going to be a newel post on the left-hand side, the way that there is on the right-hand side?
Did we ask?
The way that it butts up against the gate?
If you can flip back to the existing photo, Rachel. We were not thinking of having a post there, or there'll be a post, but kind of concealing it in that look of the fence.
So there's an existing post there, though, and now it's 3 posts. Yeah, I'm just looking at wondering what that connection, where those 2 points meet, what that's going to look like. But I do support and would be willing to vote aye if the fence was turned vertical.
Okay, we're happy to do that.
And I believe, just as a clarification, there is a fence running down the common walkway at a 90-degree angle to the fence right there. So that's what.
And if I can amend my own motion, I think we would need drawings for staff to approve. We need the paperwork. Okay. So, but we'll approve it with that proviso.
I'd like to get some clarification as to the sentiment of the commissioners. If they wanted to do horizontal on the interior side that's not visible from the public way, that would be acceptable to us, would it not?
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was my first question. Was it going to be a 2-sided fence? They could do horizontal on the inside and vertical on the outside. We just want to make sure that the precedence is good, that we are consistent with what we're saying about this, and so that's why a replacement fence is getting some good comments.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Okay, do we have any public comment? Members of the public will now have an opportunity to ask questions and provide public comment on the application and discussions. To do so, please raise your hand via the Zoom meeting platform. If you are calling in and cannot use the platform, you can press *9 to raise your hand, or you can send your questions to staff via email at southendldc@boston.gov.
Okay, I don't see any hands raised, and we didn't receive any written public comment.
Thank you. So John has made a motion to accept the vertical fence, and he's going to remand it to staff for their approval. Is there a second to that?
Yes.
Okay, so Kevin, we'll get that second to you. Felicia,
Aye.
Peter,
I,
John,
Aye.
and the chair votes with the motion, so the motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Our next address is 11 Wellington Street. The proposed work is to install a new roof deck, install new metal handrail at the front entry stairs from sidewalk to parlor level, and there are additional items under administrative review. Is there anybody in attendance from this project?
Yes, hi, Zach Malayo, Pittman Worley Architects here representing the client.
Okay. And do you have a presentation that Rachel has?
Rachel, do you have the updated one?
I do, but you're welcome to share your screen. Zach.
No, I'll let you do it.
All right. If it does look like this isn't updated, just let me know.
No, I'll let you handle it.
All right.
Yeah. You can go next page. So here today, there are some administrative things that we're doing in terms of windows and some trim, but again, that's all administrative. So what we are here to talk about is there is a new roof deck going up at the roof level, and we can get into that later, but we're also proposing to put in a new handrail at the front stairs. The owners who've purchased this, our clients, they have 2 small children, and even just everybody else, it's a little bit of a danger or hazard going up and down those stairs every day. So what we are proposing here is a very, what we're calling a simple black metal handrail that is to be attached to not the tread of the stair, but to the actual brownstone, call it the apron of the stair. Really to do this is to not let the stair have such a cage-like aesthetic. And the owners feel that this is a little bit more visually appealing to have it mounted on the top. So again, it's going to be a very simple, basic, we'll have a volute detail at the top and at the bottom. And if the commission is okay with having sort of every other baluster, every couple balusters to have a little bit of a sort of an intermediate knuckle detail. But again, we're open to your ideas and opinions about what that design should be, but we're trying to keep this as simple as we can, not to distract from everything else at the front of the building. You can go to the next slide. So this is a plan of the existing roof. Next. So the first drawing at the top, drawing 1, was what was the plan for the roof deck when we submitted the application. And when we had back early March, we had a mock-up done, and Rachel and Gabby came out and we reviewed the mock-up, and we quickly realized that because the adjacent building to the left of us is almost a story and a half smaller than our building, as you walk down Wellington Street from the south end corridor, the corner of the deck right where the bulkhead access hatch was very visible. So since we met with Rachel and Gabby, we've since updated the plans, and we've reduced the dimensions of the deck. We've pulled it significantly back further, and we're actually wrapping the railing around the access hatch bulkhead. And the next page, Rachel, if you scroll, shows the images of the top, shows the first mock-up that we did with the original application. And you can see, really in the first and second photo, that black, 90-degree elbow there is where that deck was. Earlier this morning, we did another mock-up of the revised design. And you can see here that it's visible, but it's still visible, but it's minimally visible. So we're here today to kind of just discuss the commission's, if this amount of visibility is satisfactory, or if we need to reduce it a little bit more. But again, the owners are, they still, we've reduced it about 6.5 feet, and they do still want this to be, a functional space for them. It's kind of a supplementary outdoor space. So that's what we're here for today.
So, shall we start with some, any questions from the commissioners?
Chris, if I could start, it's
Please,
Peter,
Peter.
concentrating on the deck here. Maybe we should get through the deck and then take the handrail separately. So, so your revised mock-up certainly reduces the visibility, but I'm understanding that it's not showing, the mock-up does not show the railing running from front to rear. Is that correct? So the mock-up is showing just the street-facing side of the rail?
Correct. Yes. So to your point, yes, there would still be a small section that's running towards the back of the building. Yes.
Thank you.
Peter, I'd be interested in your comments on the railing. Not the deck railing, the stair rail.
Sorry, John, say that again.
I would be interested in your comments on the stair rail too, if you have any.
I do. I do.
Or are we still on questions? I'm sorry.
No, yeah, that's, we can continue with questions and comments. I think they both like meld into each other well. So, Peter, please go ahead with your.
I mean, my comment on the handrail is that while it's an attractive handrail and I don't have a problem with the knuckles midpoint per se, but I think the handrail should be simplified more. Unless you need so many vertical for code reasons, because of the sidewall of the carriage and the newel post being such strong architectural features, I think the railing needs to be minimized as much as possible.
Can I comment to that?
Sure.
Yeah, so I can, so I need to have between the top rail and the bottom rail, the balusters, the intermediate balusters, I need to have from a pure code perspective, because the drop from, the landing down is more than 36 inches, 4 feet. So I need to have those intermediate balusters. But what I can do is I can remove the knuckle.
Okay.
Right now, I'm showing about 3¼ inches, from post to post. 4-inch is the max. So I could, take that up another ½ inch, or even max it out at the 4, and that might eliminate some of the verticality, and open it up a little bit more. But the 4-inch between the two is that's as big as I can go.
Okay. I think that would be helpful if you could do that.
May I jump in on this too? Mr. Chair.
Yes, of course, John.
Okay, so Peter, please correct my history, because again, this is usually taken over by John Amadeo. My understanding is that these stoops on this and similar streets originally did not have any handrail on them other than the skirt. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So I think a couple of things. One is that the commission would prefer the simplest railing that can meet code. Very often the ISD, and there is a process through historical renovation that one can take precedent on a monumental stair over the specifics of the code. But we don't like to push that. So we would accept the balusters as you described them. One of the other problems, though, is that we've seen over time is that the newels that are drilled directly into the top of the skirt often degrade. And even though it doesn't look like they have on the street, almost every stoop has had handrails added. The commission started asking for a detail some time ago where the railings, the posts were attached to the inside face of the skirt, so as to better protect them. And I think that would be something we'd like to ask for here, since this is a stoop that hasn't already been drilled. It hasn't, has it?
No, it has not been drilled, no.
So it'd be really nice not to have to do that. If it had been drilled, what we would ask is that you use exactly the same holes and not drill any new holes. But
that is a curved top up there, so it is even more fragile to drill right into the middle of it. And this, we don't have to worry about the spacing for the handrail because there's no existing walls that you have to keep it off of. So it was mentioned that you don't want it to be a tight stairwell with those railings protruding into the space, but they would really be just, you could get them very tight to the side rails and they would still be shot the front or the sides of the newel posts. Right. So I think that is the preferred way to do it, to anchor them into the sidewalls.
Okay.
And so no knuckle, as simple as you can make the railing. And at the top, it looks in your drawing like you have not attached it to the pediment around the door.
Yes.
I don't know if it's built of wood or stone, but that's definitely preferred not to attach it to any masonry, because that would involve drilling.
Yeah, and it's the detail at that masonry brownstone. It's almost like a trapezoidal detail, so I didn't want to attach to that, just because kind of to your points that you made about attaching to the apron, it gets a little complicated and the risk of damaging that. So
right.
Chris, I actually do have a question, and that is, you're proposing rails on both sides or one side only?
I'm proposing on both sides.
Does code require that?
I can take a deeper look into that, but it is residential, so we may get away with just the one side, but
symmetry.
Yeah, the symmetry, and again, the owners are kind of, if they're trying to not have the risk of anyone falling on one side or the other. They're two small kids going up and down these stairs every day. This is their primary access every day. So,
but the simpler the better from our standpoint.
Yes, agreed.
Do we make a motion, or do we have any public comment first, Rachel?
I think maybe just Jill check with the other commissioners and see if they have any questions or comments.
Kevin, do you have any comments or questions?
No, I did take a walk to Wellington yesterday, and I did see this was the only stair that didn't have a railing, and I think Peter referenced it. I think there were 8 that did, from the sidewalk up to the parlor, and probably half of those only had one railing, and all of the 8 were just simple handrails. I know that likely codes have changed, so I'm not disagreeing with anything. I think the simpler the better. I agree That's my only comment.
Okay, Felicia?
Just agree with comments that have been made. The simpler, the better. And just from an aesthetic perspective, and a safety perspective, I have to be, have to be mindful of the new owners and their concerns. Rails on both sides.
Yep, I think that's good. John, you've got your bit,
Yes, I'm done.
and Peter and Kevin, and I think I'm done as too. I think we've made all the comments. So we have a motion.
Chris, excuse me,
Yes, Peter.
are there any comments or anything on the deck or
Yeah, I was gonna
concerns?
say, we should do the deck next and then do the motion all at once.
We all got excited about the stair rails.
I know, it's
Those-
easy.
I was excited.
right in front of us. So you said you did this today. Are you sure it's not an April Fool's? And
No, this was done this morning. No, we did this first thing this morning.
okay. And I think I heard a comment that we see the front railing, but we don't see the side railing going down.
Correct, yes.
Okay, and that is at the again, the front part of the deck ahead of the head house, or not the head house, but the hatch.
Yes, so this I've actually, so the bottom three images is when I've pulled the railing to the other side of the hatch versus being in front of the hatch. So this
Okay.
is actually 3.5 feet from the roof's edge versus the top mock-up back on March 24th that shows it all the way to the other side of the hatch, almost at that roof's edge. So I've pulled that back already, which is what you're seeing in the bottom three photos.
How much more clearance would you have to pull it back further so it would be obscured totally and not compromise? I think the intent for it to be a workable outdoor space.
That's something that I probably have to do on site, kind of go back and forth and see kind of what the limit is, because I could, if you look at drawing 2 at the bottom, I could have a very odd shaped balcony, or not balcony, but roof deck. I could cut maybe a 3x3 square, or whatever I need to clear the visibility. So I still have an area, in the front, exactly like what Rachel's saying. I could cut an area out of that, as far back as I can to not have it visible. And I
What
think
if you slice that at a 45?
I could, it just poses some, I feel unnecessary, not that it's complicated, but just with the roof deck framing, it kind of is easier just
Irregularities.
Is this right now in the drawing 2? Is that based on any structure in the roof that you're going to use to support the deck?
The roof structure itself is staying, so that's
Okay.
not.
No, I'm staying. I know, but I mean, is the one of the like that where we're talking about, is that on a structure? Is it post and beam? I'm just curious because we dealt with this a couple weeks ago, where the deck was built this way, but they just changed the railing so that the railing got a different, like
I could do that. No, I could do that as well. We could leave the deck frame where it is, just have an area of deck, and then I could just change the
railing
exactly
geometry, and that would get rid of that corner, and it would no triangles, no funny angles, and
but I just think aesthetically, if I'm going to pull it back, I'm just going to pull the whole thing back, and then we'll let the contractor owners keep and make them figure that stuff out. So to everyone's point, I'm more than happy to pull the deck in that corner that Rachel identified that we're all talking about. And then we can resubmit images, or I can have Rachel and Gabby come back out, or we could do it through a subcommittee. Either way, I'm happy to go in that direction.
Okay, so Rachel, if we wanted to set up subcommittee, do you think that's appropriate for this to look at it on site and see where?
Yeah, we can definitely do that. That's totally fine.
Given,
Staff is happy to do it as well.
I was just gonna say, given the conversation, does staff feel comfortable knowing the direction here?
Yeah, I think staff does. And Zach has been really great to work with. So staff feels confident that we could figure out the right cut to get rid of the visibility.
So is that a yes to a subcommittee, or are we going to remand it to staff?
I mean, my preference is remand to staff, but John has been making great motions, so
And I'm so close. I'm happy to always walk down the street and sit and take a look. But it sounds like John might be tapped to make a motion.
So remanding it to staff, or we could do a subcommittee of Chris and Peter.
Remand it to staff.
Remand to staff, I
I
think.
thought I might get. All
Okay.
right, I'll make a motion to remand the roof deck to staff, given following the discussion and the concerns raised by the commission during this discussion, and we'll conceptually accept the handrail with balusters, but a new drawing simplifying it should be submitted to staff with the attachments shown on the sidewall of the inside sidewall of the stoop, and no attachment at the top. I think that's current showing, and it's as much simplified as the architect can make it work within the necessary code.
Okay. Do we have a second on that?
I'll second.
Thank you, Peter. Kevin?
Public comment.
Oh, yes, you're right. Thank you. We only got 2 ones. That's good. So
It's hard to run the hearing and remember all the things.
I've done it. Yeah.
That's
So
why I
members
nominated you.
members of the public will now have an opportunity to ask questions and provide public comment on the application and discussions. To do so, please raise your hand via the Zoom meeting platform. If you are calling in and cannot use the platform, you can press *9 to raise your hand, or you can send your question to staff via email at southendldc@boston.gov.
So I don't see any hands raised and we did not receive any written public comment.
Okay. So then, how about Kevin? Would you like to vote on this motion?
Aye.
Thank you. Felicia?
Aye.
And John?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
And the chair votes with the motion, so it passes. Okay, the next order of business is going to be administrative reviews. In order to expedite the review process, the commission has delegated the approval of certain work items, such as those involving ordinary maintenance and repair, restoration or replacement, or which otherwise have a minimal impact on a building's appearance, to commission staff pending ratification at its monthly public hearing. Having been identified as meeting these eligibility criteria and all applicable guidelines, the following applications will be approved at this hearing.
And then you don't need to read them.
Yeah, everybody's had a chance to review these, and
One quick question on Pembroke Street, replacing the windows in kind. What are they? The current windows?
I can look it up really quick, John.
good call, Peter, because hopefully upgrading them. Or John.
Sorry, I have to do it on my phone because I run my computer to run the hearing, so it'll take me a quick second. Okay.
I have another question too.
Sure, go for it while I'm
The
trying.
typo mortar, would that be
Okay.
typical?
The which part, John?
So one of them, it says specifically it's going to be repointed with type O mortar. Is that the typical mortar that you would choose, or is that different?
We usually allow typo mortar.
What's your preferred?
I think usually just ask them to match what's existing.
In color?
Yep, the color and the tooling. I'm sorry, John. Give me a second. I have to like stop sharing and then log into NAC.
Sorry.
That's okay. My apologies. I can't remember off the top.
Yeah, I'm sure it's right. I just was more curious. What?
Just a quick minute.
Yeah, John, some of the later buildings, O is more appropriate.
Okay. I mean, original would have been a mix of Portland and lime.
And we do get a lot of Portland and lime still.
But O is a very low strength mortar, right? And that's what made me wonder. There's an acronym or whatever you call it, like for the letters of what the different kinds of mortar are, and I can never remember it. But I know O is over on the right side of the, it's like M and
S, isn't S the,
S in there, yeah.
Maybe slash. Bode, single hung. Oh, it's wood.
So they're replacing wood with wood. Are they historic original windows?
They're not.
So they're just replacing replacement wood windows with wood windows.
Yep. Yeah. JB Sash is the maker.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry about that. Sometimes I can just look in my email, but it wasn't loading, so I had to log into our system. Okay, let me pull it back up.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, no worries. Entering full screen. Okay. If there are no more questions, you guys are welcome to make a motion.
Yep. Make a motion. Is there anybody that wants to make the motion to accept these?
I've done making motions tonight.
You're done, Peter. John.
I'll make a motion to accept administrative review items, application 25.684 SE through application 25.644 SE.
Is there?
Unless you need me to read each one out.
You don't need to. You're good.
Second, did I hear?
Yes.
Kevin, thank you. Release, John,
Yes, aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Felicia,
Aye.
and Kevin,
Aye.
and the chair votes with the motion, so the motion passes. Now we are going to ratify the minutes of our March 4th, 2025 meeting minutes. Just have a motion for that.
Motion to.
Oh,
Motion.
just really quick, I had just two comments from Commissioner John Amadeo, who was unable to attend tonight, but he had two comments on the minutes, and I'll just read them in. And if you guys, that sounds okay to you guys, then we can move on with the approval. But if not, we could, when he's back next month, talk about it more. But regarding 161 West Canton Street, he said that we voted 5-0-0 to deny without prejudice the chimney shroud and cable rail and to approve the painting of the exhaust black. So I think he's just looking for more of a clarification there. And then we voted 3-0 to approve the leaded glass panels behind the door windows and the transom windows. And then he specifically lists out who voted what in favor: John Freeman, Catherine Hunt, Felicia Jacquez, not in favor, John Amadeo, Peter Stagborn, abstentions none. So those are his clarifications. I'm welcome. I can like email that out to you guys. I'm not a listening learner, so when people tell me things, I have no idea what they're saying. And then we could always just do the minutes in May.
Okay.
How about I do that? I think that makes
You
more
could correct it. I
Yeah.
I don't even remember what the first one was, but he's correct about the stained glass, and I think
Yeah, I do
it's an
too.
interesting discussion.
Yeah. So how about we edit it, recirculate, and we'll come back and vote on this one in May, if that sounds okay.
Sounds good to me.
Thank you
Awesome.
for that clarification.
Right. Right. And then so in terms of staff updates, as Joe mentioned, we are going to get started on working on organizing the subcommittees for Windows first. And then we'll go from there. That, of course, is open to the public. So even if you didn't join the subcommittee, you're still welcome to attend. We are, it said it at the start, but we've been extended to do remote hearings through 2027. So quite some time from now. So tuck that one away. And then I've mentioned this last month, but Liz Sherva has started with us. And so far, so good. Yay. Really excited to have that position filled. Joe, do you have any staff updates you'd like to add?
Sure. Well, one, I'll say, Chris, you did a great job chairing for your
I
first
agree.
time. Congratulations. Looking forward to you to chair more often. Not that I don't want John Amadeo to attend. And of course, Rachel and Sarah, you've done a great job. I just also want to mention two things. One, the preservation planner position, Gabby's position, is posted, and we're getting in a huge amount of resumes. So
Really?
yes. So, you know, again, if you know anyone that's interested, pass them along our way. It'll be, I think we'll keep the posting will be open for probably 1 month. So there's probably 2 more weeks that it'll be open, but we've gotten a great response. And then we will just be doing a small change to all of our agendas. We're going to be having meeting minutes in the beginning, and we may even move admin to the beginning just to get them out of the way. And that way we don't have to worry about, you know, if we don't have a quorum in the end, or if, you know, for whatever reason it get dropped off the agenda. So we may be moving those to the beginning of our agendas.
Okay.
Great.
I guess that brings us to the end of our meeting. I would look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved. Thank you, Peter.
Second.
Second. Are all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Very good. There we go. We almost left ourselves open. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night, all.
Good job, Chris.
Enjoy your April.